MoMondays. Like, I just can't even believe that I'm here. I never in a million years would have imagined that I would be here public speaking about something that's so vulnerable to me and so near and dear to my heart. So bear with me because it is pretty personal. So here I am. So I wanted to share with you my story, especially a few of the chapters in particular that have brought me here in front of you guys tonight. So my name is Melissa. I am a woman, a partner, a daughter, a sister, a friend, an entrepreneur. I am extremely lucky to be a mother. And amongst all of the things that I am, what has taken precedence in my life is that I am 1 in 6 Canadians who struggle with infertility. Some of you might be thinking, what is infertility? Well, there is no one single definition of the term infertility. It typically refers to a lack of conception after a reasonable period of time with no contraception. 1 year for women under 35 years old and 6 months for women 35 years and older. The number of people who are struggling with infertility has doubled since the 1980s, and although science has come a long way to help create and grow families, education and support is slow at catching up. There are many factors that play a role in infertility, including male factors, female factors, and a combination of both. With the infertility rates climbing, it is more important now than ever that we take the opportunities like this to stand up and talk about it. Here is how this part of my story began. In 2007, I met my partner. We dated for a couple of years and then decided to start a family together. We thought that would be fairly easy. You know how it goes. Dinner, couple glasses of wine, and boom, a baby, right? Not exactly. We tried on our own for many months before consulting with a family physician who ultimately referred us to the fertility clinic. After months of tests, it was determined that we had been diagnosed with unexplained infertility. Unexplained? What? I wanted to scream. I still want to scream when I hear doctors using the term unexplained infertility. There was obviously a reason, and I wanted to know. This is the new millennium. We want our answers immediately and instant results, and that just wasn't a reality with infertility. It was suggested that we move right to IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. IVF has come a long way and now has success rates of 40%. 40%. Does 40% odds give you the warm and fuzzies about throwing $15,000 at a single hand of blackjack? Probably not. But we knew that 40% was better than the nothing that we had before, so we soldiered on. I was taking $300 a day in injections, which I administered to myself. These medications forced my body to produce almost 24 eggs. Considering you naturally produce 1 or sometimes maybe 2 a month, this was a huge deal, with all of the swelling and hormones to boot. My partner can contest to that. I had the eggs surgically removed to be fertilized in the lab, but unfortunately, fertilization did not happen at all. We were devastated. Our diagnosis was then changed from unexplained infertility to poor egg quality and diminished ovarian reserve. I was at the time 30 years old. Though having a more concrete diagnosis was determined, it put things into perspective that I would never conceive a biological child of my own. We were told at that point that we either needed to adopt or find an egg donor. Struggling with infertility is described as the worst roller coaster to ever exist, and this is a good example why. So after our dreams had been crushed about having our own genetic children, we were offered eggs from a donor. Extreme low to extreme high, and that all happened within an hour. Our doctor was on board, so we planned to move forward as quickly as possible. Using a donor also made things a lot more complicated. At the time, we were living in another province, so I had to take a month off of work so I could be here in London to medicate alongside her. We met with lawyers, counselors, paid for the IVF, medications for both of us, and storage fees. All of this, our journey in its entirety, has cost $60,000 to date. So much for dinner, wine, and a $100 tab. We moved forward with Ivf Cycle using our donor's eggs. 4 embryos were created, and in April 2014, we transferred our first little babe into my body. That's where I get emotional. Thank you. The 2-week wait was excruciating. Your body is tricked into thinking it's pregnant even before they transfer the embryo. So feeling pregnant without actually being pregnant is a bit of a challenge, to say the least, when you're on this journey. Here's the part where I smile. We were very lucky to have our son born 39 weeks later. It is so encouraging to know that we live in a time where science can make what seems like magic happen. Just 40 short years ago, the first baby was born through IVF, and millions, including mine, have followed. We were hoping for a sibling, and being that we had 3 embryos in storage, we thought it would be easy to get pregnant again since we had just had success. We moved forward with our second transfer in October 2015, which sadly ended in pregnancy loss, as did the next transfer that we did in February of 2016. Statistically, 1 in 4 pregnancies will end in miscarriage. Nervous to experience another loss and the last embryo we had to transfer, we took a number of months to grieve and transferred, on all days, Valentine's Day of 2017, which resulted in no pregnancy at all. As if we hadn't endured enough, we decided to move forward again. In August of 2017, I had a diagnostic laparoscopy done and was diagnosed with stage 1 endometriosis. That was removed, and we started a new protocol of supplements that have been used to increase egg quality. I took those 3 times a day for 8 months and decided to try 1 more IVF with my own eggs in hope that the quality had been improved enough to make a baby. In April of 2018, I started injections again and had 18 eggs removed from my ovaries. 24 hours later, we got a call from the nurse. The embryologist had the most amazing news that 6 of our eggs had fertilized. I was over the moon. I was feeling hopeful for another child, and sadly, that didn't last long. My fertility doctor called the very next day and said that the 6 embryos that we had all deteriorated, and there was nothing more that we could do. During all of these months and years of heartache and loss, I found it was hard to connect with people. It wasn't like there was a MoMondays networking event happening for infertiles, but I knew that I wasn't alone. Every single month, I sat in waiting rooms with countless others who were experiencing what I was at some capacity, and yet no support was available for us. So I grabbed the ugly bull by its horns, and I did it myself. So for over 2.5 years now, I have been a part of creating a movement for supporting others who are struggling to conceive. I am not alone, and now they are not either. I'm here with you tonight because I know how important it is to spread awareness about infertility, how important it is to remove the judgment and stigma associated with it, and how important it is to provide a space for people to feel supported. Someone once told me that life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it. Support exists, good people exist, relatable stories exist, and you have to advocate for yourself and your needs to maximize that 90%. Infuse your life with action. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen at whatever capacity that means to you. On this journey, you cannot live with regret because it will eat you alive. Get out there, find the people, talk about the hard stuff, do your research, get multiple opinions, and you do you each and every step of the way. Thank you, MoMondays, for having me here tonight to share, to inform, and hopefully to inspire. Some of our story is written for us already, but this next chapter is yours with whatever struggle you may be experiencing, whether in business, relationships, or your health, and I wish you all the best.